But what are we looking for from us, from our program here at Harrison? Okay, we want to develop the quarterbacks from the youth program through the varsity program so where we don't have any holes in years. Okay, we want to be, every year we want to be able to throw the ball, move the ball down the field, through the air. We know we can do it on the ground. We've proven we can do it on the ground throughout the last 4 years, but we've been deficient in the passing game. We haven't been able, whether it's been receivers, quarterbacks, protection, whatever the case, we just haven't done very well. We know if we want to be elite, we need to score at least 30 points in every game. Now understand, that does not mean we need to average 30 points a game. Okay, we averaged 28 points a game my first year here. That's not good enough. We need to score at least 30 in every game. So if we put up 54 against Anderson, we can't put up 12 against Lafayette Jeff and expect to win. We have to score 30 in every single game. What that'll mean in the long run is we'll average a lot more than 30 points a game. Okay? 3-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio is what we're looking for. This is the statistics of the state of Indiana last year. Offense scoring average, Pioneer, state champs. New Pal, state champs. West Lafayette, state champs. Warren Central, state champs. There's a correlation. You got to score points if you want to win. Now, I'm a staunch believer in having a very good defense. Okay, we have a great defensive coordinator. We have a very good defensive scheme as well. Whether he's here or not, we're going to continue to run the same scheme, and we're going to be good on defense. But we know we have got to do better scoring the ball. And the best way for us to do better scoring the ball is going to be to develop our quarterbacks throughout the program as we're going here. And because I've been able to see the youth program, and now especially with the turf field this last year, I've been able to sit up there and break down film in the press box when the youth games are going on. I think our quarterback situation is going to be better than it's ever been, probably in school history, just looking at the type of talent we have. Okay? So this is our goal. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at least 30 points a game. We know if we want to compete for a state championship, those are going to have to be our averages. Okay? And there's no way for us to do this if we can't throw the ball, guys. There's just no way for us to do it if we can't throw the ball. Now, what do we want? What are our prerequisites? What are the most important things as we come up? And this isn't just for high school. This is for the middle school programs. This is for the youth programs. What's important, what's not important. Height, I mark it down as not important because I've coached 5'7" guys that were good quarterbacks. I've coached 6'5" guys that were good quarterbacks. That being said, taller's better. Taller is great. If you can get taller, great. Weight, not terribly important. Willie Taggart weighed about 170 pounds. He carried the ball about 25 times a game. He never got hurt just because he was a tough kid. Okay. We also had kids. Jeff Dunn was a 220-pound quarterback. It didn't really matter. Speed. If we're going to continue to run option, it's important, but if we throw the ball well enough, speed's not necessarily that important. That's great, again, with all those things. Do I want you bigger? Do I want you faster? Do I want you strong? All those things are very, very important, and if we can get them, we'll take them, but that's not going to disqualify you from being a quarterback. If you're not super fast, if you're not super tall, if you don't weigh a ton, that's not going to preclude you from playing quarterback. The things that might preclude you from playing quarterback are if you don't have enough arm strength. And again, arm strength is not the #1 focal point for playing quarterback. Just because you can throw it a long way doesn't mean you can throw it to the guy you want to throw it to where you need to throw it. So is it important? Yes. But I put it as important, not very important. Accuracy. Accuracy is very important. You got to be able to throw it to us. Okay, you got to be able to throw it away from a defender. You got to be able to complete passes where the wide receivers can run with the ball after they catch it. Overall strength. That's important too, because that's going to come down to durability, how you do in the pocket. Are you going to be able to move through some arms that are slapping you in the pocket and still be able to throw the ball on target? So strength is important, but it's not the end-all, be-all. But again, more strength is better than no strength. The last two, I can't coach. Okay, there's nothing I can do about those. Those are 100% you. First three, nothing I can do about them. I can't make you taller. I really can't make you weigh that much more. And I can't make it that much faster, although we'll work on some agility and speed stuff. Intelligence and leadership, ability, and vocal skills, that has to be you. Okay, it has to be you, and it has to come from within you. And I understand we are in a world where you never want to call out your friends and say, hey, quit doing that, quit being a knucklehead, because you're afraid that they're going to gang up on you and they're going to make fun of you. And nobody wants to be made fun of. Okay? But a leader and a quarterback has to have that to him. He has to say, look, enough screwing around. We're here to get a job done. Let's get the job done. Okay? And it doesn't have to, you don't have to scream at the guys, you don't have to create a fight, but you have to have that intuition, that gut to say, no, things aren't going right, let's go, let's get on par. Okay? And I can't fix that. That has to come from you, and that has to come from the way you're brought up and those sort of things. All right, when you look at some of from the pro quarterbacks, I just said that there are certain things that hey, he's 6'5", that's great. He's 211 pounds, that's great. 40-yard dash time, he's in the 1 percentile of all NFL players. So there are 99% of the people in the NFL are faster than Tom Brady. He's in the 0 percentile. I didn't even know that was possible. That's a vertical leap and a broad jump as far as your burst score. He's in the 0. I don't even know the right way to say that one, but it's bad. Agility score, he's a little bit better in the agility score, which is like a pro shuttle 3-cone drill. They did not do throwing velocity back at the combine in the old days. And now they test your velocity. The strongest arm in the NFL throws a football 60 miles an hour. That's your Patrick Mahomes, your Josh Allens, your Joe Flacco's, your Kirk Cousins. Those guys can throw the ball about 60 miles an hour. Drew Brees is about a 52 mile an hour. Okay? So 52 miles an hour, I think we can all agree that Drew Brees can throw every throw you need to make in the NFL. Okay? And then Wonderlic score. This is basically brains. Okay? He's up there in brains. Okay? Now he's in the 74th percentile. So even though he has some of the measurables, he doesn't have all the measurables, but he has exactly what they need for him to be able to be good at what he does. Here's a great comparison. This guy's probably 5'8", 5'9", he's probably 6'5", he's somewhere in the middle. I think we take any one of the three to start our program with if we were a college football coach, because all three of them are pretty good. This guy's super fast. This guy never runs. This guy's a little bit of both. He can run it when he wants to, he can throw it when he wants to. So you can be a lot of different things and still be a really good quarterback if you have those intangibles and you're able to do a couple of the other things. Now, is it great? I love this picture because this is Drew Brees. Okay? Look how much taller he is than Doug Flutie. Okay? And that's Drew Brees. He's the second smallest guy in the NFL. Look how short he is compared to Peyton Manning, and look how short Peyton Manning is compared to Brock Osweiler. So you get to see the 6'8" Brock Osweiler all the way down to the 5'11" Russell Wilson. Now, that being said, for NFL purposes, yeah, it looks like 6'2" to 6'5". It is probably pretty good. But Joe Flacco's won a Super Bowl at 6'6". Obviously, Drew Brees has won a Super Bowl at 6 foot. So a lot of different ways to skin a cat. Arm strength. Okay, when we talk about arm strength, we talk about that it is important, but it's not the end-all be-all. Okay, just because you can throw the ball 60 or 70 yards doesn't mean a whole lot. We had a kid on the team last year that could throw the ball about 70 yards. He was our punter. He could throw the ball 70 yards, and he was a pretty fast runner, but he wasn't a quarterback. He didn't have the bottom two things we needed that I showed you on that prerequisite list, so we were unable to play him at that position. But he had enough stuff. So for arm strength, what I like to say is you need to have every club in your bag. And I know the Shrimps, they understand the golf because Jack's a good golfer and stuff like that. But the way it works is the lower your club number, the lower the trajectory of your golf shot. Okay? So your 2-iron, when you're throwing the ball, that's a flat ball that you want to get to the guy as soon as you can. And the quarterbacks will hear this throughout the course of me coaching them when they get to high school. A 6-iron is a little bit more air on it, and then a 9-iron that's when you really want to put the air on it. When the ball leaves your hand, you want to see the point of the ball up, and then it'll come to an apex, and then the ball will turn over. Okay? That'll happen if you're throwing the ball into the wind or if there's no wind. If the wind's at your back, one thing you'll find out is the ball will always stay up. The point will stay up, and it'll just float on you, but that's neither here nor there. So what I tell our quarterbacks is you have to have every club in your bag. You have to have a 2-iron, 3-iron, 4-iron, 5-iron, 6-iron, 7-iron, all the way through the 9-iron. You got to have all those clubs in your bag. You've got to be able to throw the nice height off the ball, but you also got to be able to throw that 2-iron. If you don't have a 2-iron, that might preclude you from playing quarterback. Okay? Because there is a minimum amount of arm strength that we need, and I'll explain that to you here in a second. All right. Who's the smartest guy in here? Casey didn't come. You're the next best thing. We got a couple smart guys. You're an engineer, right? Okay. We know that for us, in our offense, that what we want for the minimum throw you need to be able to make in high school, we need you to throw a 20-yard fade. Okay? So if we're on the left hash, we know that a 5-step drop takes you back 7 yards from the line of scrimmage. Okay? There's 1 yard or about 1.5 yards from where the center is. Quarterback's right behind him. Once he takes his 3 steps, his back foot should hit it 7 yards deep. Okay, so that takes them 7 yards away from line of scrimmage. We know we need to throw a 20-yard fade. Okay, so we know right now that's a 27-yard throw. Okay, we need to be able to throw it to this side, which is an easy throw, but we also need to be able to throw it to the wide side of the field. Okay, so the wide receiver, what we call the Z receiver, that'll be on the top of the wide numbers. Okay, if you're not familiar with how the football field is laid out, Ed Pearson's not here. Do we got any other officials here? No officials here today? Does anyone know how wide a football field is? 53 1/3 yards, okay, which is exactly 160 feet. What we do is we break it, we just say it's 54 yards wide. Okay, and it's 9 yards from the sidelines to the top of the numbers, 9 yards from the top of the numbers to the high school hash mark, 9 yards from the hash mark to the middle of the field, which is right in the middle of the goalpost, 9 yards to the other hash, 9 yards to the top of the numbers, 9 yards to the sidelines. Okay, so when you're looking at, all right, well, how far is that 20-yard throw that I took a 7-yard drop on if I'm throwing it across the field? Who knows how we figure it out? Who knows the equation to figure it out? Anybody? And do you know what that is? Pythagorean theorem, exactly. So we know we're throwing the ball 27 yards this way, so we've got 27 times 27. Then we know we've got 27 yards because we know it's 9 yards to there, 9 yards to there, 9 yards to there. It ends up at 27. Okay? Now we know what this throw is right here because we know this is 27 yards, that's 27 yards. We know it's actually a 38.2-yard throw. So even though you're throwing a 20-yard completion, you got to be able to throw the ball about 38.2 yards. What we generally say is 40 yards. So if you can't throw your 9-iron about 40 yards, it might preclude you from playing once you get to the varsity level. Now we understand some of you guys are this big right now. You're not that strong. There's no way you're going to be able to throw a 40-yard pass right now. Okay? But by the time you get to be a sophomore, junior, or senior, you need to be able to at least throw that 40-yard throw. Okay? Most of our quarterbacks, all 4 of the quarterbacks that we had up that played here before, all of them are in the 50s, and Jonathan's probably closer to 65 as far as arm strength, where they can throw the ball. Now just imagine that radius, all it does is open up the throws that you can possibly make. Okay? So is it important? Yeah, it's fairly important because if you can't make that throw, then they don't have to defend that part of the field. Then they squeeze you, and then you're in trouble, and it takes away from the running game. What's more realistic, okay, is this. This is a 6-yard hitch. We got the ball on the 9-yard line here. We're going to throw a 6-yard hitch. We're going to take a 3-step drop that should get you 5 yards away. Okay? And you're just going to run 6 yards. We need you to be able to complete that throw 100% of the time with no defense. Which means if Tyler drops back 10 times in a row, okay, with no defense, he takes a snap from a fellow quarterback. Jack's going to snap the ball to him. He's going to take 1, 2, 3. He needs to be able to complete that ball to him 100% of the time. It's just a 6-yard throw. That's all it is. But when you come to look at it, it's actually a 29-yard throw. So to stand there and just play catch with your buddy 5 yards apart, you're not doing what you realistically need to do. Okay? You need to be working on the 29-yard throw. Now, can you make the 16-yard throw? If you can make the 29-yard throw, generally you can make the 16-yard throw. So that's what we're looking for as far as trying to figure out, all right, what do we need to work on? So when I'm working, if I'm one of the young guys and I'm going over to Legacy, and we're going to work on pass plays, do I just want to take 3 steps and bounce around a few times and throw it to a guy right in front of me? No. What I want to do is I want to take a snap from somebody, hopefully. I want to take 3 steps. I want to be able to throw it 6 yards, okay, 6 yards deep, okay, but what amounts to a 29-yard throw. That's the throw you need to work. Okay, you need to work on being able to do that 100% of the time. If you can do this 100% of the time at 29 yards, that radius there, I'm going to show you in a second, basically encompasses all the throws that the NFL players make. Okay? So that's really what you need to work on. And another thing when we're talking about taking a snap, okay? And sometimes it even happens at the high school level. Okay? When Jack's taking a snap, he's got to be able to get up in there underneath Tyler who's holding his hand down. Now you guys are at the age you're like, I don't want to touch it anybody else. I don't like it. And you kind of weave your hand in there. Let me tell you right now, if you can't put your hand in there against someone else's hand, imagine the other place that you're going to end up having to put it. Okay, it gets worse. So you have to just say, take it for what it is. Hey, I'm going to be able to put my hand on his hand or my hand on his rump. I might be able to give him pressure because the more pressure I give on his butt, he's going to know where to snap the ball. If I just kind of barely put my hands in there and don't give him any pressure, he's going to snap the ball wherever he thinks my hands are. That's going to create a fumble. Okay? There's never been a touchdown pass in the history of football, organized football, that didn't start with the snap. Okay? If you don't get the snap, nothing else really matters. So that's where it needs to start. Be able to get the snap, take your drop, make the throws. All right, just talking about the radius again here. Again, this is just a 6-yard throw, but when you look at the radius, if I'm 100% there, why shouldn't I be 100% there? Or 100% there? Or 100% there? Okay, so that's kind of what we're going for. If you can be 100% at 30 yards, you can make pretty much every throw you're going to need to make at the high school level, and really, even the throws you're going to need to make at the collegiate level. Okay, this is Andrew Luck last year. This is going to be a little difficult to see. Okay, but I'm going to send this out to all you guys. So all you guys will have this presentation at the end of the night. Look at these guys and look at where they are, the 10-yard mark. Okay, look at that 10-yard mark. Or better yet, look at the 6-yard mark to the wide side, and then make your little circumference. Guys, 90% of their completions are within the same circumference that we're asking you guys to be good at. This right here, that's the 6 yards, the same circumference. If we had the same circle, almost all completions, almost all completions. When you look at this, that's a white one, that's an incompletion. White one, incompletion. Completion, incompletion. The far ones, this one here, this is a great game, it's 31 of 47. Okay, over 15 yards, 1, 2, 3, 4, interception. Okay, if you took that away, he'd probably be, what would he be? 30 for, looks like 30 for 40 with no interceptions. Just because he was able to throw it short. Also, look at his touchdown passes. This one's over 10 yards. That one's about a 13-yarder. That's a 2-yard throw. That looks like a screen pass. That looks like a 3-yard touchdown pass. That's these blue lines are the touchdown passes. Very rarely do you see those long ones. Now, you have to be able to do a long one every once in a while, but not that often. Patrick Mahomes is the best deep ball thrower in football right now. Okay? Most people will agree that he's at least in the top 3. He threw 480 passes last year. 91 of them were over 20 yards. That means 390 of his 480 passes were under 20 yards. Anybody have an idea of how many, the amount of yards, okay, past the line of scrimmage, he averaged for the year? Anyone want to guess? Where's Griff? Griff, give me a guess. 7 yards. His average throw was 7 yards past the line of scrimmage. Okay? So yeah, can he throw the ball 90 yards? Sure he can. But what's his average throw over the course of the entire season? He threw for just under 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. His average pass, yards in air, past the line of scrimmage, was only 7 yards. He was throwing passes he could complete. Let's move it up to here's Patrick Mahomes right here. Let's look at this game. What's a good game here? He threw the ball 46 times. Look at all these passes right here within about 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. Touchdown pass, touchdown pass, touchdown pass, touchdown pass. Now, did he throw a long one? Sure, he threw a long one. He also, out of his 5 longest passes, 6 longest passes, incompletion, 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 interception, incompletion, touchdown. Okay? So, if you can throw that pass, that 6-yard pass, and complete it 100% on air, we should have a pretty good go when there's a defense against us. Here's Tom Brady, because anytime you do anything quarterback-wise, you got to do Tom Brady stuff. Again, just look at all the green. Look at all the green down here. Look at all the green down here. Not so much up here. They almost never go down the field with the ball. When they do, they hope to be successful. But they stay underneath just about all the time. They do that, they complete it. The shorter amount of time the ball is in the air, the better chance you have of completing it. The longer the ball is in the air, the worse chance you have of completing the pass. Because the defense has the ability to make up the difference, swat the ball away, intercept it, whatever it might be. So arm strength is important, but not for you to be able to throw it 70 yards down the field, but to be able to throw that 6-yard hitch. If when I say, hey, it's time to throw it, for me to make my mind that I'm going to throw it and the ball's going to get there. So arm strength matters because you got to have that 2-iron. If that 2-iron can get there faster than another kid's 4-iron, that's where arm strength does come in a little bit. But accuracy is by far the most important part of it. Because if you don't throw it away from the defender, if you don't put it where your guy can catch it, the other guy can't catch it, okay, then nothing's going to work.